Okay, so the first question then is, how'd this idea come into being? I guess more so originated with myself. I've been in the paranormal field for many years, and there's certain things that I've come across where it just makes you shake your head, like, wow, really? You know, the misinterpretations I was seeing were only accumulating over the last few years. It was time to do this idea. It was time to present it in a way that hopefully be comprehensive to the general public and show you that, you know, not everything in Hollywood is the way it is. And there's so many influences now that we have that might not have existed 10 years ago, didn't exist 20 years ago.
Being on our way back from Kentucky, we had stopped in Greenville, Illinois, and I wasn't really expecting to be running camera nor in front of the camera.
We'll try it a different way, because originally I wasn't sure exactly if I wanted to have it an all paranormal endeavors related thing. I think most of them would have, but I didn't really approach it like that. I didn't even ask everybody on the team. I just was like, okay, well, who goes with me a lot on road trips and whatnot? That will be the person. It was kind of like drawing straws in my mind. What was the toughest thing about doing this project?
One of the challenges was definitely opening myself up. Before this, I was more used to maybe not having such a lead role in, like, investigating, and I was more comfortable with being behind the camera. And with this, it definitely kind of threw me into a situation I may not have been comfortable with at the very beginning, but pretty much with everything you're uncomfortable with, if you just keep trying at it, and you'll keep progressing, and eventually it'll become second nature.
I don't think there's one single person, at least at one time, that I haven't heard them complain about, get that camera out of my face, or, oh, my hair is terrible, or, it's...
Hair is a big deal. No.
Yeah, but it's just, this field needs some source of education in it, and there's all these other variety of sources where education might be coming in points of view, like somebody saying, oh, going in there and provoking these things, that's how you can do it, and here's how it's done. And then there's others that approach it more psychic only, and they go in and they start picking up things, and they come off maybe not so credible all the time. We wanted to do it in a way that shows exactly how we investigate. This team is formed designed to do scientific and spiritual if the client requests it, but we have to do it, balance that out, still have the scientific stuff going when we do the spiritual. Metaphysical World is designed to cover so much more vast topics that we might not include in everything we normally do in our regular series.
There's other things out there that may not be as widely talked about, so people are watching or experiencing their own things, and then now they can have something to relate to. And
the thing that when we work on Metaphysical World is the consequences of these things. Yeah. I want to focus on that, where a lot of the shows and everything out there currently shows you it in action, but not so much after the fact. All right, what happens to these teams? Did they have something follow them home? Did they have some kind of mental breakdown after it? Getting in contact with everybody I felt that I would have liked to have had within the documentary was one of my main challenges in this. Because there's some people, there's segments that are just designed and they're better off with having somebody in a formal sit-down, one-on-one conversation. Improvise a little bit to make sure that we still got the information that we needed, because from the beginning, there was so many segments that we wanted to cover and topics in this first one. 2 hours was the goal originally, but then you start sacrificing, cutting out too much. And so much of the stuff in here is so important that I didn't want to cut out too much more.
One segment will definitely carry you into the next one, and it keeps you going so that you want to watch more.
There's not one thing that you really can go to and be like, okay, this is everything I need to learn about this field. Now I can go out there and be an expert, professional ghost hunter, paranormal researcher.
You're constantly
There's a variety of different things you got to mix together. But our goals for this is, at least mine, was to make sure that we get a lot of the main important stuff. Majority of the stuff that we see in a case-by-case basis or day-to-day within the paranormal community that got under our skin the most,
Paranormal
I would
movies.
say. Favorite part of this project? You can go first since I talk too much.
You do talk too much. I really enjoyed talking to other people and being able to see other people's opinions on the paranormal, whether they agree with it or whether they don't. By far, I loved like the different theories that are out there, such as like the winter solstice. There was such a vast.
Summer solstice.
Yes, the summer solstice, the winter solstice.
The equinoxes. Well, I love sitting down with these individuals for each different segment, getting their points of view and the cooperation and just be another avenue of education, because that's the biggest thing. And I think that's what I like the most about this. That's the reason that I started Paranormal Endeavors, just a regular series that we do based off of our group, is the educational aspect. What do you hope people will learn from this documentary? Watch the whole thing. Try not to skim it or judge a book by its cover, but actually take the time, be open to the information that's being passed along, and then from there, I hope that people learn that the main culture of what's going on right now is not the whole story. The movies and shows out there are not always right. Actually, a lot of them are not. They get a perception on their own of what the paranormal community might be like, and then they add to it in a Hollywood style. Like, okay, well, what really happened in real life was this individual who had a haunting in their home witnessed the refrigerator door open and close by itself. To us, I would say, okay, well, it could be residual, or it might be grandma had died in the house and she always went to the fridge and she got hungry. It could just be that, and then work at it at that kind of angle. Hollywood, though, this is their version. They would open the fridge, it would be 3 a.m., and there would be a creature or demon that would come out of the fridge, and then the demon would start chasing the individual. Then the individual would start running or try to run, maybe be frozen in fear, and then as they're running away, they would trip over nothing and fall down screaming.
And be dragged back into the fridge.
And dragged back into the fridge. The fridge would slam shut, and they would freeze to death, and their body wouldn't be found until
Not my theory.
5 years later or something, and then it would be a sequel movie based on the same thing. Yeah. So the lesson learned from our project, what we did, is that I'm keep an open mind and note that what we're presenting is more of the realities of what's really going on. And we didn't just do it like in Paranormal Endeavors. Paranormal Endeavors focuses on our team, and really only our team and our perspective. Well, that's why we did Metaphysical World also, was to show the viewpoints and perceptions of other people outside of us. So it wasn't necessary, because I don't want it biased. I didn't just want it being like one viewpoint. I wanted multiple teams involved. People that have investigated, people that have experience, people that have been in the field for years, people that have the first-hand account, didn't just read a book and say, oh, well, this is what happened in the book, and then regurgitate it back to somebody. These people have lived through violent hauntings. These people have helped people that have lived through violent hauntings or still continuing to go through violent hauntings. These people are real. What you see or what you pay to go into the movie theater or see on TV, if a new TV show shows up, is not necessarily real. So that's my biggest thing out of this.
What I want you guys to get out of this is a lot along the lines of what Eric stated. don't believe everything you see on TV. If you have questions, don't be afraid to reach out to paranormal teams, but be careful when you do reach out to different teams.
Not a fly-by-night team, not a pop-up team, not a group of high school kids that just the only experience they have was going into a tombstone, calling out for somebody, and then something happens and they run screaming. That's
Right.
not a paranormal investigative team. Enjoy our project that we did, and if there's any other questions or whatnot, then, paranormalendeavors.com will connect you. And so, hopefully you enjoy this.